If your child stares at the sky or horizon, it means they have a romantic and deep mind. You appear a few percent more attractive to others than you see yourself in the mirror. The hand that gives is also the hand that receives. If you constantly move your hands and feet while sitting, you are mentally disturbed. A study found that most people judge you by your shoes, not your face. An ungrateful son is a wart on his father's nose. He leaves it alone and it's ugly. He removes it and it hurts. People who quickly become friends with you are more likely to betray you. If you talk about someone you once loved, it means you still love them. 4 walls make a man free. If you can't walk in a straight line comfortably, it may indicate magical thinking disorder. When its time has come, the prey goes to the hunter. People who dislike interruptions while working tend to be better workers. If someone close appears in your dream, it means they were thinking about you before sleeping. In the hour of adversity, be not without hope. Those who stay awake till late are more creative, intelligent, and decisive. People who are generally kind are often the most hurt inside. If you cling to small objects, it shows childhood neglect or lack of attention. If someone calls your name and you immediately respond, it's a sign of a healthy mind. If you often look back while walking, it means you lack confidence. Develop confidence at home and your journey becomes lighter. If you don't carry your past with you, your brain is more active between 5 and 7 p.m. Women are more attracted to deep-voiced men as they seem more confident and dominant. People with a strong sense of smell also tend to have a sharper brain. Thinking well is wise. Planning well is wiser. But doing well is the wisest and best of all. You become what you habitually think about. A person who tries to make everyone happy usually ends up lonely. When a cat wants to eat her kittens, she says they look like mice. Sometimes jealousy is your brain's way of showing how much you care. People who give short answers are usually more intelligent. Your mind works exactly how it's instructed. When the snake is old, the frog will tease him. If someone doesn't let go of your hand while shaking, they are a very confident person. Children who speak early tend to have stronger memories. Smiling increases your energy, improves mental health, and reduces heart attack and depression risk. If you enter the city of the blind, cover your eyes. Always listen to experienced people. They know the reasons behind their failures. People who cry more are mentally stronger than those who don't. Happy people see the world the way they want to. According to psychology, if you smile at someone who insults you, your smile hurts them like a dagger. Sad people see the world as it really is. Emotionally sensitive people are actually stronger because they connect everything with emotion. Being ignored by someone important to you causes the same pain as a physical injury in your brain. Forgetfulness is actually a sign of high intelligence. Prolonged loneliness is as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Never show too much love or care, as people often devalue what's free. If you want to feel more energized, start your day by making your bed. If you're struggling with decision-making, it could be a sign of stress or anxiety. People who wake up early tend to be more productive and proactive throughout the day. Studies show that reading fiction can improve empathy and social skills. People who express gratitude regularly tend to be happier. When you experience something stressful, your body releases cortisol, which can have long-term effects on your health. Having a positive mindset can increase your lifespan by up to 7.5 years. Laughter really is the best medicine, reducing stress and promoting good health. If you walk barefoot on grass, it helps lower stress and boosts your mood. People who regularly practice mindfulness are better at managing their emotions. Acts of kindness improve your mood and can make you feel more connected to others. Your brain is constantly changing, forming new connections throughout your life. Spending time with animals can lower your blood pressure and reduce anxiety. Studies show that journaling can help reduce stress and improve your mental health. If you help others, it activates areas in your brain associated with pleasure and reward. The color blue is known to have a calming effect and can lower blood pressure. Smelling lavender can reduce anxiety and help you relax. Music can alter your mood and even help you think more clearly. Having close relationships can improve your mental and physical well-being. People who engage in creative activities like painting or writing tend to experience less stress. Learning new skills keeps your brain sharp and boosts self-confidence. A balanced diet is essential for maintaining good mental health. Exercising regularly releases endorphins, which can improve your mood. People who volunteer tend to feel more fulfilled and experience greater happiness.
Everyone thinks they know why people act the way they do. But the truth is, the mind plays by hidden rules. Before we go deeper, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss the kind of psychology facts that change how you see people. 1. Talking to yourself isn't madness, it's mastery. When you verbalize your thoughts, your brain doesn't dismiss it as background noise. It treats your words as commands. That's why world-class athletes mutter to themselves before a critical move, or surgeons whisper through each step of a procedure. It's not insecurity. It's the brain sharpening focus in real time. You're both the coach and the player when you speak out loud. 2. Messy handwriting hides a fast mind. People often judge scribbles as carelessness, but in reality, it's usually thought outrunning the body. The hand simply can't keep up with the storm of ideas rushing forward. What looks like chaos on paper is actually proof of motion inside the brain. A messy page often belongs to someone whose mind won't wait for ink to catch up. 3. Negative words hit harder than positive ones. An insult lingers longer than a compliment. That's not weakness, it's evolution. For thousands of years, survival meant scanning for threats before pleasures. Missing a kind word never killed anyone, but ignoring danger could. That's why a single harsh comment sticks in your mind long after praise fades. 4. Multitasking lowers your IQ temporarily. People wear multitasking like a badge of honor, but the science says otherwise. Each time you switch tasks, your brain must reboot. The result? A temporary drop in sharpness, equivalent to pulling an all-nighter. Far from being efficient, juggling tasks leaks focus and drains your mental energy faster than you realize. 5. Doodling is memory's secret ally. When someone idly draws shapes during a meeting, it's not distraction, it's engagement. The simple act of keeping the hand busy frees mental space. It anchors attention so the brain can absorb more detail. That's why doodlers often recall conversations better than those who sit perfectly still. Scribbles, it turns out, are silent tools of memory. 6. Your heartbeat can trick your brain into thinking it's love. The rush of adrenaline feels almost identical whether it comes from fear, exercise, or attraction. That's why someone you meet on a roller coaster can suddenly feel magnetic. The pounding in your chest fools your mind into attaching emotion to the nearest face. Sometimes love isn't in the heart, it's in the pulse. 7. Mirroring body language is the body's silent confession. When you like someone, you subconsciously copy them. Crossed legs, a tilted head, folded arms. It's rapport without a word spoken. Your brain does it to build connection, to signal safety. It's as if your body whispers, "I feel close to you. I'm with you." Quiet people notice what others miss, while talkers fill the air. The silent ones are reading faces, gestures, and hidden signals. Their stillness is not emptiness, it's observation. Silence sharpens their senses, allowing them to catch truths that race past everyone else. The quiet ones often see the most. 9. Rejection hurts like a bruise. When someone ignores you or shuts you out, your brain lights up the same regions it does for physical pain. To the mind, being excluded is as real a wound as a cut. That's why loneliness can feel crushing. It isn't just in your head. It's survival circuitry screaming for connection. 10. The average person lies 1 to 2 times a day. Most lies aren't evil schemes. They're small shields. "I'm fine. I'll be there in 5. They're fragile attempts at peace, not betrayal. The truth is, lying is less about deception and more about smoothing over life's sharp edges. 11. Chewing gum sharpens the mind. That small, mindless chew boosts blood flow to the brain. It makes recall quicker, focus sharper. That's why students before exams or soldiers in the field quietly use it. The rhythm of chewing becomes the rhythm of thought. 12. Calm people in chaos were often forged by fire. What looks like composure can actually be survival learned young. People who grew up under stress sometimes carry a strange stillness when storms hit. Their nervous systems already know the battlefield. Peace, for them, was never given. It was trained. 13. Exhaustion can spark creativity. When you're slightly tired, your brain's filters loosen. The guardrails of logic weaken, and unusual ideas slip through. That midnight scribble on a napkin may look insane in the morning, or it might be the seed of genius. Fatigue lets the brain wander where it normally wouldn't. 14. Dark humor signals resilience. Laughing at the painful isn't cruelty, it's armor. People who find comedy in tragedy often carry stronger emotional defenses. It's how they survive reality's heaviness. To laugh at the dark is to refuse to be crushed by it. 15. Men and women carry different cognitive strengths. Women often juggle multiple tasks fluidly, while men tend to dive deeply into one. It's not superiority. It's evolution's division of labor. Generations of survival carve different strengths, each vital in its own time. The brain remembers the roles even when society changes. 16. Most people underestimate their own attractiveness. When you look in the mirror, you see flaws magnified. Tiny imperfections that no one else notices. But others see you in passing moments, your laughter, your gestures, the light in your eyes. Attraction is rarely about perfection. It's about presence. Chances are, you are far more magnetic than you believe. 17. Night owls are natural rebels. Those who stay awake long after the world sleeps often question authority more. The darkness has always belonged to thinkers, writers, rebels who resist the rules. Late hours breed independence. It's not just preference, it's personality wired for pushing boundaries. 18. Imagination rewires the brain almost like practice. When you visualize playing piano or shooting a basketball, the same neural pathways light up as if you were doing it physically. The mind rehearses, the body follows. That's why elite athletes and performers use visualization. It's practice without movement, but with power. 19. People with fewer friends often prefer depth over noise. They trade crowded rooms for intimate conversations. Their circle may be small, but each bond is layered, strong, unshakable. For them, connection isn't about numbers, it's about meaning. A single deep friendship outweighs dozens of shallow ones. 20. Writing down worries before sleep frees the mind. The page becomes a container for looping thoughts. Instead of recycling anxieties in your head, you anchor them to paper. The result? A calmer nervous system and deeper rest. Sleep welcomes those who unload their burdens first. 21. Talking to strangers daily boosts happiness. A smile to a cashier, a short chat with a neighbor. These micro-connections feed the social brain. Humans crave interaction, even tiny sparks of it. The happiest people aren't the richest or the most famous. They're the ones who engage with life around them. 22. Silence makes people squirm. We fill air with chatter not because silence is empty, but because it is full. Silence is a mirror, forcing self-reflection. Most people can't stand what echoes back, so they drown it with words. The loudest noise is often inside. 23. People who swear often are more honest. Profanity bypasses the filters of politeness. Raw words come from raw truth. When someone curses, it's often a signal they're speaking without disguise. Strange as it sounds, swearing can be a badge of sincerity. 24. Music with lyrics hijacks your attention. Your brain fights between processing the words in the song and the words in your head. That's why instrumentals, classical, ambient, lo-fi, boost focus, while pop lyrics pull you away. It's not about taste, it's about cognitive bandwidth. 25. Couples who laugh together stay together longer. Shared humor isn't just fun, it's glue. Every inside joke is a secret language, proof that two people see the world through the same lens. Laughter is love in disguise, a rhythm that keeps bonds alive. 26. High empathy feels like a physical wound. Mirror neurons fire when you see someone hurt, lighting up as if the pain were your own. That's why deeply empathetic people flinch when they witness suffering. For them, compassion isn't just an emotion, it's biology. 27. Daydreamers are hidden problem solvers. Letting the mind wander isn't laziness, it's strategy. When your brain drifts, it runs simulations, tests ideas, solves puzzles in the background. That sudden aha moment often comes after daydreaming, not grinding. 28. Chasing happiness makes it run faster. The more you hunt it directly, the further it slips. Happiness resists capture. It arrives indirectly, as a byproduct of meaning, growth, and connection. Joy isn't a prize, it's the side effect of living well. 29. Walking faster predicts longer life. Pace isn't just about movement, it's about vitality. People who naturally stride with energy tend to have healthier bodies and stronger hearts. In a way, every step is a clue to how long life may stretch. 30. Memory isn't a recording, it's a rewrite. Each time you recall an event, your brain edits it. Details shift, emotions reframe. Over time, your memory may look nothing like reality. The past is less a film and more a story retold until it becomes something new. 31. Overthinking is the curse of intelligence. Sharp minds cut both ways. The ability to analyze deeply often spirals into endless possibilities. What could be a gift becomes a trap, turning thought into paralysis. Intelligence solves problems, but it also creates imaginary ones. 32. Compliments hit harder than cash. Validation lights up reward circuits faster than money. For many, recognition fuels more joy than riches ever could. The human brain still values belonging and appreciation above pure wealth. 33. Hearing your name changes everything. It slices through noise like an alarm bell. When someone uses your name, your brain locks in. Instructions, requests, emotions, they all gain weight. A name isn't just sound, it's identity awakened. The color blue calms the body. Sky, sea, horizon. The shade signals safety. Blue lowers heart rates, relaxes tension, and soothes restlessness. That's why bedrooms and hospitals use it. The brain reads blue as peace. 35. Emotion tattoos memory. Neutral days fade, but love, fear, grief, they burn into the mind. Your brain is selective, carving permanent marks only when emotion demands it. Memory is not fair. It favors the dramatic over the ordinary. 36. Smiling tricks the brain into joy. Even when you're sad, forcing a smile activates the release of dopamine and serotonin. The body pretends, but the brain believes. That's why therapists sometimes encourage people to act happy. The act itself can flip the emotional switch. Sometimes joy begins as rebellion against sorrow. 37. Loving solitude means emotional independence. Those who find peace in their own company aren't antisocial. They're self-sufficient. They don't need constant validation because they draw energy inward. While others fear being alone, they thrive in it. Solitude is their sanctuary, not their prison. 38. Anger is often a mask for fear. That roar you see isn't always rage, it's protection. Beneath anger often lies sadness, insecurity, or vulnerability too fragile to show. The mind dresses wounds in fire so no one can see the cracks beneath. 39. Sharing secrets forges bonds. Every confession is an exchange of vulnerability. To hand someone your truth is to place trust in their hands. That intimacy deepens relationships faster than years of small talk. Secrets build bridges or burn them. There's rarely an in-between. 40. Fiction builds empathy. Reading novels isn't just entertainment. It's training. Each character you inhabit, each life you live on the page, strengthens your ability to feel what others feel. Stories are the gym where empathy lifts its weight. 41. Fatigue lowers resistance. When people are physically tired, they're more likely to agree, comply, or give in. Exhaustion softens the mind's defenses. That's why difficult conversations often resolve at night. Fatigue becomes persuasion's ally. 42. Forgiveness frees the body. Holding grudges isn't just emotional, it's biological stress. It raises blood pressure, floods the body with cortisol, and weakens the immune system. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's release. It heals the forgiver more than the forgiven. 43. Faces outlast names. Evolution carved us to remember visual allies and threats long before we invented language. That's why you'll recognize someone across a room, but struggle to recall their name. Your brain is ancient. It prioritizes survival over politeness. 44. Looking away doesn't mean disinterest. People who struggle with eye contact often dive deeper in thought. Their minds are working too hard to also hold the gaze. Disconnection in the eyes may actually mean deeper connection in the mind. 45. Emotions make decisions first. The heart leaps before the head calculates. Logic often arrives after the fact, cleaning up the choice with reasons. We believe we're rational creatures, but in truth, we're emotional beings who rationalize afterward. 46. Fast talkers seem more confident. Speed signals certainty. A quick tongue feels like a quick mind, even when the content is identical. That's why fast speakers are often mistaken for leaders the pace alone persuades. 47. Threats outweigh opportunities. Better to miss a meal than miss a predator. That's how evolution wired us. The brain notices danger faster than reward. That's why bad news spreads quicker and why fear sells more than hope. 48. Writing goals locks them in. Dreams in your head are clouds, but the moment you put them on paper, they take shape. People who write down goals are 42% more likely to achieve them because the act transforms intention into reality. Ink gives vision weight. 49. Loneliness weakens the immune system. Isolation eats away not just at the soul, but at the body. People who lack connection are more prone to illness, slower to heal, and more vulnerable overall. Humans aren't built for solitude, we're wired for tribe. 50. How you treat others reveals who you are. Every act of kindness or cruelty is less a reflection of them than of you. The way you handle the powerless, the inconvenient, the unnoticed, it's your soul in motion. The world is your mirror. Your actions are its reflection. 51. Stress can shrink your brain. Chronic stress floods the body with cortisol, and over time, that chemical storm erodes the hippocampus, the very part of the brain that controls learning and memory. That's why people under long-term stress feel foggy, forgetful, and drained. The weight of worry doesn't just sit on your shoulders, it physically rewires your mind. 52. People eat less when food is served on smaller plates. It isn't appetite that changes, It's perception. The brain sees a full small plate as abundance and a half-empty large plate as scarcity. The trick works so well that restaurants quietly use it to manage portion sizes. Your stomach listens less to hunger and more to illusion. 53. Nostalgia is the brain's painkiller. When you recall warm memories, childhood summers, your first love, laughter with friends, the brain releases dopamine and oxytocin. It doesn't just make you smile, it physically eases pain and reduces loneliness. Nostalgia isn't weakness, it's medicine from the past. 54. Eye contact can change memory. When someone stares directly at you while speaking, your recall of the moment sharpens. The gaze anchors the words deeper into your neural pathways. That's why intimate conversations and confrontations stay burned into your mind longer than casual chatter. Eyes don't just look, they brand memories. 55. People conform even when they know the truth. Classic psychology experiments prove it. Place someone in a group giving wrong answers, and most will follow along despite knowing better. The brain craves belonging more than accuracy. Truth bends under the weight of social pressure. 56. Smells connect stronger to memory than sight or sound. A whiff of perfume or certain soap can drag you instantly back to childhood. That's because the olfactory bulb links directly to the hippocampus and amygdala, memory and emotions core. The nose is memory's secret doorway. 57. People under pressure make riskier choices. When adrenaline surges, rational thought narrows. The brain focuses on speed, not accuracy. That's why gamblers bet bigger under stress, and why soldiers in combat sometimes make reckless but instinctive moves. Pressure rewires caution into impulse. 58. Physical warmth makes people judge others as kinder. Holding a warm drink, sitting in a cozy room, it tricks the brain into seeing people around you as warmer in personality too. That's why comfort and kindness often walk hand in hand. Warmth is psychological as much as physical. 59. Social media hijacks dopamine like a drug. Each notification, like, or message gives your brain a small chemical reward. Over time, you start craving the next hit. Platforms know this. Algorithms are built to drip-feed validation. It's not willpower you're fighting. It's engineered addiction. 60. Gratitude rewires the brain for happiness. When you consistently list things you're thankful for, neural pathways shift. The mind begins scanning for positives automatically instead of negatives. Gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's mental training. Over weeks, it changes how you see the world. 61. People walking in the same direction synchronize without knowing it. When groups move together, on sidewalks, in halls, at protests, their steps gradually fall into rhythm. It's not choreography, it's biology. Humans evolved to move as tribes, and the body still carries that instinct. Walking together is more than motion, it's belonging. 62. Regret weighs heavier than failure. When people look back, they rarely ache for what they tried and lost. They ache for what they never dared. The brain punishes inaction more harshly than mistakes, because possibility lingers longer than closure. 63. People remember beginnings and endings, not middles. Psychologists call it the serial position effect. You recall the first impression and you cling to the last, but the long middle of experience? It blurs. That's why the way you start and finish matters more than the details in between. 64. Multisensory learning locks memory tighter. If you read something, hear it, and write it, your brain fuses the memory stronger. Each sense adds another layer of reinforcement. That's why teachers use visuals, sounds, and activities, because memory loves variety. 65. Power changes speech. People who feel powerful unconsciously lower their pitch, speak slower, and pause longer. Authority rewires rhythm. The voice becomes not just communication, but dominance expressed in sound. 66. People overestimate how much others notice them. It's called the spotlight effect. You think everyone sees your flaws, your mistakes, your awkwardness. In reality, most are too busy thinking the same about themselves. Your imagined spotlight is rarely real. 67. Pain shared feels lighter. When you talk about suffering with someone who listens, your brain reduces its intensity. Emotional pain doesn't just unload emotionally, it literally shifts neurologically. Support divides the burden. 68. Boredom sparks creativity. When the brain isn't overstimulated, it begins to wander, connect dots, imagine. The modern obsession with constant entertainment kills boredom, and with it the sparks of invention that come when the mind has space. 69. People who help others feel physically stronger. Acts of kindness release oxytocin, which reduces stress and boosts energy. That's why volunteering often leaves people more energized, not drained. Helping isn't sacrifice, it's fuel. 70. Scarcity makes things feel valuable. The fewer you perceive something to be, whether it's time, money, or opportunities, the more your brain desires it. Scarcity hacks desire. That's why limited offers and countdowns work so powerfully. 71. Talking about trauma reduces its power. Unspoken, it festers. But when you put pain into words, the prefrontal cortex, the logic center, helps regulate the amygdala, the fear center. Language weakens trauma's grip. Silence strengthens it. 2. People move toward those who mimic them. When someone mirrors your posture, gestures, or tone, you feel an unconscious pull toward them. It feels like familiarity, but it's psychology. We trust those who act like us, even subtly. 73. Small wins fuel big victories. The brain craves progress, not perfection. Checking off even tiny tasks releases dopamine. That's why breaking goals into steps works better than chasing a single giant leap. Momentum feeds motivation. 4. People overestimate others' happiness. We compare our worst moments to the highlight reels we see from others. The brain skews the truth, convincing us that everyone else is thriving while we struggle. Comparison is rarely fair. It's illusion. 75. Eye pupils reveal emotion more honestly than words. They widen with attraction, shrink with disgust, dilate with surprise. You can lie with your mouth, but not with your eyes. The pupils betray the heart. 76. People underplay compliments to themselves. When praised, many instinctively reject it. Oh, it's nothing. But internally, dopamine still spikes. Compliments always land, even when denied. The brain drinks recognition, even if the lips say no. 77. Familiarity breeds liking. The more you see someone, the more your brain grows comfortable with them. It's called the mere exposure effect. Strangers become friends, and sometimes love, through nothing more than repeated presence. 78. People misremember emotions more than facts. You might recall an event's details accurately, but your memory of how you felt often changes. The brain edits emotion to fit the story you now tell. The heart, unlike the mind, is easy to rewrite. 79. Deadlines create bursts of focus. The ticking clock forces the brain into urgency mode. Suddenly, procrastination turns into productivity. It's not that you work better under pressure. You simply silence distractions because time demands it. 80. Music can synchronize heartbeats. When people sing or play instruments together, their pulses literally align. Choirs, bands, even audiences can fall into collective rhythm. Music doesn't just move emotions, it unites bodies. 1. Talking to yourself makes your brain sharper, not weaker. By speaking your thoughts out loud, the brain treats the words as real instructions instead of background noise. That's why top athletes, surgeons, and even chess players whisper to themselves to improve focus and control. Self-talk is your mind coaching itself into peak performance. 2. Messy handwriting usually signals a fast and creative thinker. Ideas are moving so quickly in the brain that the hand can't keep up, leaving chaotic scribbles on the page. What looks like disorder is actually the trace of speed, imagination, and overflowing thought. Messy writing is often the mark of a restless and brilliant mind. 3. Negative words stay longer in memory than positive ones. The brain evolved to pay closer attention to threats than to rewards because survival depended on it. A single insult can echo for days, while 10 compliments fade almost instantly. Pain is stored in bold ink, while kindness is often written in pencil. 4. Multitasking doesn't make you efficient, it makes you weaker. Switching between tasks forces the brain to reset each time, draining energy and clarity. Research shows multitasking lowers IQ temporarily to the level of someone who stayed up all night. Focused depth always beats scattered energy. 5. Doodling is not distraction, it is memory's hidden anchor. When people sketch during lectures or meetings, they actually recall more details later. The moving hand occupies the body so the mind can lock onto what is being said. Scribbles become secret tools of attention and retention. 6. A racing heartbeat can trick your brain into believing it's love. Fear, excitement, and attraction all release the same rush of adrenaline and pounding pulse. That's why dates at roller coasters or scary movies feel more intense and romantic. The brain often mistakes danger for desire. 7. Mirroring body language is the body's silent confession of trust. When people cross their legs, tilt their heads, or even breathe in sync, it's a sign of hidden connection. The brain copies what it likes and what it feels safe with. Mirroring is rapport without a single word spoken. 8. Quiet people often observe more than loud ones. While others fill the air with noise, the silent ones are scanning details and emotions others miss. Stillness sharpens awareness and gives them insights that pass unnoticed in conversation. Silence is not emptiness, it's a magnifying glass. 9. Rejection lights up the same brain regions as physical injury. Being excluded, ignored, or heartbroken doesn't just hurt emotionally, it activates the same neural pathways as a bruise or cut. That's why heartbreak aches in the chest and loneliness feels crushing. To the brain, social wounds are real wounds. 10. Small lies usually serve as fragile shields, not betrayals. People lie once or twice a day, but mostly with phrases like, "I'm fine," or "I'll be there soon." These lies aren't meant to deceive, but to avoid conflict or protect feelings. Dishonesty sometimes comes from kindness, not cruelty. 11. Chewing gum sharpens focus and improves memory. The rhythm of chewing increases blood flow to the brain and wakes up alertness. That's why students often chew during exams, and soldiers once used gum in training. A small and simple act can give the brain a secret edge. 12. Calm people in chaos often learn their composure the hard way. Many who look unshaken during storms grew up in unstable environments where they had to regulate stress early. Their calmness is not natural but forged through survival and scars. What looks like effortless strength is often the memory of past battles. 13. Creativity often appears when the brain is slightly tired. In the late hours, the mental guardrails that normally filter out strange ideas grow weaker. This allows the mind to connect thoughts in unusual and original ways. What feels like chaos and exhaustion can later become a spark of genius. Fatigue opens doors that logic usually keeps closed. 14. Dark humor is a sign of resilience, not cruelty. Laughing at painful or taboo topics helps people cope with heavy realities. By reshaping pain into comedy, they give themselves distance from suffering. Humor becomes armor against the harshest experiences. Joking about the dark is survival disguised as laughter. 15. Night owls are more likely to question authority. Those who thrive at night often resist traditional rules and expectations. Darkness gives them freedom to think differently without pressure. Many rebels, writers, and innovators worked best while others slept. Midnight hours belong to independent minds. 16. Imagination rewires the brain almost like practice itself. Visualizing a skill activates the same neural circuits as performing it in real life. Athletes rehearse victories in their heads before they compete. Musicians practice silently by imagining each note played. The mind lays the path long before the body walks it. 17. People with fewer friends usually prefer depth over noise. They focus on loyalty, honesty, and intimacy rather than large social circles. Their smaller groups protect them from betrayal and exhaustion. Each relationship carries more weight and sincerity. In their world, quality always outweighs quantity. 18. Writing down worries before bed brings peace to the brain. Unwritten fears spin in circles, keeping the mind restless. Once captured on paper, the brain releases them and allows calmness to return. This simple ritual helps people sleep deeper and recover better. A notebook often becomes the container for a quiet night. 19. Talking to strangers increases happiness more than expected. Small interactions, like greeting a cashier or chatting with a neighbor, activate social reward systems. These micro moments reduce feelings of loneliness and create sparks of joy. We often underestimate their power in daily life. Happiness is sometimes found in passing smiles. 20. Silence is uncomfortable because it reflects inward. People fear the emptiness because it forces them to hear their own inner voices. That's why pauses in conversation feel so heavy and awkward. Silence doesn't lack meaning, it has too much. The quiet exposes what words usually hide. 21. Swearing often signals honesty and emotional intensity. Profanity bypasses the social filters of politeness and reveals unpolished truth. People who curse openly tend to express emotions more sincerely. Rough language can sometimes carry the most genuine feelings. Honesty often sounds raw and unrefined. 22. Music with lyrics competes directly with your thoughts. The brain can't process song words and internal thinking at the same time. That's why classical or instrumental music improves concentration. Lyrics hijack the language centers and drain focus. Silence or sound without words sharpens mental clarity. 23. Couples who laugh together are more resilient over time. Shared humor builds intimacy and softens conflict better than logic alone. Every inside joke proves a shared view of the world. Laughter is glue that holds relationships steady in storms. Joy and love is stronger than passion alone. 24. Deep empathy feels like borrowing another's pain. Mirror neurons activate as if you were experiencing the suffering yourself. That's why compassionate people wince when others get hurt. Empathy is not just imagination. It is biology. To feel with someone is to carry part of their burden. 25. Daydreaming is problem-solving in disguise. When the mind wanders, it explores possibilities beyond the pressure of focus. Many breakthroughs arrive while walking, showering, or staring into space. What looks like idleness is creative testing behind the scenes. Wandering thoughts are often working thoughts. 26. Chasing happiness directly makes it harder to achieve. The more people pursue joy as a goal, the more it escapes them. Happiness comes as a byproduct of purpose, connection, and growth. It cannot be hunted, only welcomed. Fulfillment attracts joy quietly, without pursuit. 27. Walking speed reveals health and vitality. People who walk briskly tend to live longer and healthier lives. Doctors even use pace as a predictor of longevity. Energy and strength show themselves in each stride. Your steps can reveal the length of your journey. 28. Memory changes a little every time it is recalled. When you revisit a moment, the brain rewrites details with today's emotions and context. Over years, stories shift until they barely resemble the original event. What feels like a fixed memory is actually a living story. The past is constantly edited by the present. 29. Overthinking is intelligence turned inward against itself. A sharp mind can generate endless possibilities but also endless doubts. This ability to analyze deeply can trap decisions in spirals. What solves problems in one moment can create them in another. Brilliance and burden live in the same mind. 30. Compliments release more dopamine than money. Recognition satisfies the brain's reward system faster than cash. Humans crave belonging and appreciation above material gain. That's why praise can energize someone for days. Validation feels richer than wealth to the human heart. 31. Hearing your own name captures attention instantly. Even in a noisy crowd, the brain detects it above all other sounds. Identity is wired as the strongest trigger of focus. That's why salespeople, leaders, and teachers use names often. Your name is the most powerful word you'll ever hear. 32. The color blue calms the body and the mind. It lowers heart rate, eases breathing, and reduces stress hormones. Blue reminds the brain of sky and sea, ancient signs of safety. That's why hospitals, bedrooms, and apps often use it. The color itself speaks peace into the nervous system. 33. Emotion leaves deeper marks on memory than logic. Facts are forgotten quickly, but feelings stay carved in the brain. The amygdala ensures emotional events are stored long-term for survival. That's why heartbreaks, weddings, or grief remain vivid decades later. Feeling is memory's true ink. 34. Smiling can create happiness instead of reflecting it. Even a forced smile tricks the brain into releasing dopamine and serotonin. Over time, mood catches up with expression. Joy doesn't always begin inside, it can start on the face. The body leads, and the mind follows. 35. Enjoying solitude signals strong emotional independence. People who like being alone recharge from within instead of seeking constant validation. They don't fear silence, they use it for clarity and strength. Solitude builds creativity and resilience. Being comfortable alone is a rare form of power. 36. Anger is often a mask for softer emotions underneath. People roar so that their fear, shame, or sadness remain hidden. Rage feels powerful but usually protects fragility. What looks like hostility may be pain in disguise. Behind the fire often lies something deeply vulnerable. 37. Sharing secrets bonds people faster than years of small talk. Every confession is a gift of vulnerability, inviting trust in return. That's why whispered truths build closeness quickly. Secrets act like emotional glue between people. Trust grows strongest in the dark. 38. Reading fiction trains empathy like exercise. By living in characters' minds, you practice understanding perspectives beyond your own. This strengthens your ability to sense emotions in real life. Stories aren't just entertainment. They're rehearsal for compassion. Books build the muscles of empathy. 39. Fatigue lowers resistance to influence and persuasion. Tired brains save energy by agreeing more quickly. That's why late-night arguments or negotiations often end in concessions. Exhaustion doesn't just weaken the body, it softens the will. Fatigue makes compliance feel easier than conflict. 40. Forgiveness heals the body as much as the soul. Holding grudges floods the body with stress chemicals that weaken health. Releasing resentment lowers blood pressure and restores balance. Forgiveness doesn't excuse wrongs, it frees the one who was wronged. Letting go is medicine disguised as mercy. 41. Faces are remembered far longer than names. The brain evolved to recognize allies and threats visually before language even existed. That's why you can recall a face from decades ago but forget the name seconds later. Faces are survival markers. Names are inventions. Vision holds memory better than words. 42. Avoiding eye contact often means deep thought, not disinterest. The brain sometimes needs to look away to process information fully. Concentration can make direct gaze impossible. Looking down or aside can be a sign of effort, not avoidance. The mind runs deeper when the eyes wander. 43. Emotions guide decisions before logic arrives. We like to think choices are rational, but feelings act first. The brain leaps toward what feels right, and reasoning often comes later to justify. Emotion is the compass, logic the lawyer. What we call rationality is often explanation, not cause. 44. Talking quickly makes people seem more confident. Listeners equate speed with certainty, even if the content is the same. A rapid, fluent delivery signals sharpness and conviction. The brain mistakes fluency for intelligence. Fast words can persuade where slow ones cannot. 45. Threats capture attention faster than rewards. Evolution wired the brain to notice danger before opportunity. Missing food hurt less than missing a predator. That's why fear spreads quicker than hope and bad news outshines good. The mind still prioritizes survival over success. 46. Writing down goals increases the chance of success. Putting dreams into ink makes them concrete instead of vague. Studies show written goals are achieved far more often than spoken ones. The act signals commitment to the brain. A notebook can turn wishes into plans. 47. Loneliness damages health like smoking or poor diet. Isolation raises stress hormones, weakens immunity, and shortens lifespan. The human brain is built for tribe, not solitude. Without connection, the body and soul both decline. Loneliness isn't just sadness, it's sickness. 48. First impressions are formed in less than a second. Before a word is spoken, the brain scans posture, eyes, and micro-movements. These snap judgments are survival instincts carried into modern life. Once formed, they are hard to undo. Safety or danger is decided faster than truth. 49. Nostalgia eases pain like a natural drug. Remembering happy moments triggers dopamine and oxytocin. Old songs or scents can soothe stress instantly. The brain uses memory as medicine. The past comforts the present more than we realize. 50. Power reduces empathy and perspective. Feeling dominant suppresses brain regions linked to compassion. Leaders and the powerful risk making bolder but colder choices. Authority intoxicates by shrinking emotional awareness. Power sharpens action but dulls connection. 51. People eat more when offered variety. Different flavors and colors reset the appetite repeatedly. That's why buffets make people overeat compared to single meals. The brain craves novelty even when the body doesn't need it. Variety tricks fullness into silence. 52. Breathing synchronizes between people who connect deeply. Couples, friends, and even groups in harmony often match rhythm without trying. Shared breath is a physical sign of closeness. The body mirrors the bond silently. Intimacy shapes even the way lungs move. 53. Memory strengthens when tied to location. The brain links information with places, building mental maps. That's why you recall facts better in the room where you learned them. Ancient storytellers used the memory palace to remember long tales. Space becomes a filing cabinet for thought. 54. Curiosity is the brain's hunger for knowledge. Dopamine fires when you seek answers, just as if anticipating food. That's why puzzles, mysteries, and secrets feel addictive. Curiosity turns learning into pleasure. The mind craves discovery as much as survival. 55. Stress pushes people into risky choices. Adrenaline narrows thought and makes bold actions seem urgent. Gamblers under stress bet more recklessly. Urgency tricks the brain into mistaking danger for necessity. Pressure bends judgment toward impulse. 56. Symmetry in faces signals beauty across all cultures. The brain reads balance as health and genetic strength. Even infants prefer symmetrical faces before they can speak. Evolution carved attraction into geometry. What we call beauty is survival dressed as aesthetics. 57. Emotions distort time perception. Fear slows seconds into minutes, while joy makes hours vanish. The brain stretches or compresses time depending on feeling. That's why danger feels endless and happiness feels fleeting. Emotion is the true clock of human life. 58. Repetition makes lies feel like truth. The more often a statement is repeated, the safer and more familiar it feels to the brain. Familiarity gets mistaken for accuracy, even without proof. That's why propaganda and advertising use repetition constantly. The mind confuses recognition with reality. 59. Complaining rewires the brain toward negativity. Each time you dwell on problems, those neural pathways grow stronger. Over time, the brain defaults to pessimism because it takes the easiest, most practiced route. Gratitude can feel unnatural at first because it's building new connections. Thoughts carve grooves that shape outlook. 60. Gestures help the brain process abstract ideas. When people move their hands while explaining, they anchor complex concepts into physical form. This helps both the speaker and the listener understand better. Gestures are not distractions, they are tools for clarity. The body supports the mind in communication. 61. Sleep is the brain's memory workshop. During deep rest, the brain replays and reorganizes the day's events. Important details are reinforced while irrelevant clutter gets erased. That's why studying before bed strengthens recall. Sleep isn't rest, it's the mind's filing system. 62. Small gestures of kindness impact more than we realize. A smile, a thank you, or holding the door can alter someone's entire day. These actions trigger dopamine and oxytocin in both giver and receiver. You may forget the act, but the other person may remember it for years. Kindness is tiny, but unforgettable. 63. Multilingual people often shift personalities with language. Each language carries its own rhythm, culture, and emotional associations. Speaking a different tongue can make someone more confident, humorous, or formal. The brain doesn't just switch words, it adjusts tone and mindset. Language is identity in multiple versions. 64. Anticipation excites the brain more than reward itself. Waiting for a surprise, a gift, or a big event triggers huge dopamine surges. The what if feels stronger than the what is. That's why cliffhangers and countdowns are so addictive. The thrill is often in the waiting. 65. Fast talkers are perceived as more persuasive. Quick, fluent speech signals certainty and intelligence, even when the content is identical. Listeners equate speed with confidence and sharp thinking. The brain mistakes fluency for authority. A rapid tongue can sell even weak arguments. 66. Jealousy activates the same brain regions as physical pain. Seeing someone else with what you want hurts like an injury. That's why jealousy feels like being punched in the gut or stabbed in the heart. The brain processes lost status as danger. Envy is pain disguised as anger. 67. Love floods the brain with chemicals like addiction. Early romance surges with dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin, creating euphoria and obsession. The brain treats love like a drug, pulling you back for more. That's why people act irrationally when in love. Passion is chemistry wrapped in poetry. 68. People remember emotions longer than exact words. You may forget what someone said, but you'll always recall how they made you feel. Emotional tone burns deeper into memory than language. That's why kindness and cruelty echo louder than details. Feelings outlive sentences. 9. Group pressure can override personal truth. Experiments prove people will agree with obviously wrong answers if the group insists. Belonging feels safer than accuracy, because rejection once meant death. Conformity isn't weakness, it's survival instinct. The tribe's voice can drown the individual's. 70. Images make information feel more trustworthy. The brain gives more credibility to facts paired with visuals. That's why charts, pictures, and symbols can manipulate as much as inform. Seeing feels like believing, even when the picture deceives. Vision persuades faster than reason. 71. Humor diffuses conflict faster than logic ever could. A joke lowers tension, reduces defensiveness, and shifts perspective instantly. Where reasoning might fuel argument, laughter disarms. Humor resets the emotional tone of a room. Jokes are weapons of peace. 72. Tone of voice shapes perceived intelligence. Calm, steady speech sounds wiser than rushed or shaky delivery. People judge intelligence and authority by rhythm before content. That's why leaders train not only what they say, but how they say it. Sound persuades as much as meaning. 73. Stress narrows the brain's perception. Under pressure, adrenaline makes you focus only on immediate threats. While this helps survival, it kills creativity and long-term planning. That's why in emergencies, people miss small details. Calmness expands awareness that stress compresses. 74. Emotions spread between people like invisible waves. If someone is anxious, those nearby often feel tense too. If someone is joyful, others lighten up. Mirror neurons pick up and copy emotional states automatically. We don't just mimic gestures, we catch moods. Emotion is contagious energy. 75. The brain values losses more heavily than gains. Losing $100 hurts far more than winning $100 feels good. This loss aversion guides countless decisions without us noticing. It was safer to avoid danger than to chase reward. Fear weighs more than hope in human psychology. 76. Music influences how people drive. Fast, intense beats raise heart rate and push drivers to speed, while slow songs calm and slow movements. Playlists can shape risk-taking more than we realize. That's why traffic safety campaigns sometimes target sound. Your ears help steer your hands. 77. People unconsciously mimic others' accents and tones. When we like someone, our voice shifts slightly toward their rhythm and pitch. It's the brain's way of building connection without words. This mimicry happens faster than we notice. Even speech wants to belong. 78. Messy environments often boost creativity. Clutter stimulates the brain with unpredictability, sparking unconventional thought. While order promotes discipline, chaos encourages invention. That's why some innovators thrive in disorganized rooms. Disorder feeds imagination. 9. Fear burns memories deeper into the brain. Moments of terror activate the amygdala and sear details into long-term storage. Smells, sounds, and sights from those events stay vivid for decades. Fear is evolution's branding iron for survival. Trauma lasts longer than comfort. 80. Laughing at yourself builds resilience. Turning mistakes into jokes lowers stress and protects self-esteem. It shows strength rather than weakness, because it robs errors of power. People who laugh at themselves recover from setbacks faster. Humor transforms shame into survival. 81. Height influences perceptions of power. Taller individuals are often judged as more competent and leader-like, even when skill is equal. Studies show height even sways elections and promotions. The brain equates size with strength. Instinct shapes judgment more than reason. 82. Curiosity locks learning into memory. When you want to know, dopamine activates and boosts retention. That's why lessons tied to genuine interest stick better than forced ones. Curiosity makes knowledge addictive. The hungry brain never forgets what it craves. 83. Positive instructions work better than negatives. Walk slowly is obeyed more than don't run, because the brain struggles with negation. Clear, affirmative phrasing directs action more effectively. Words shape behavior like rails shape trains. Guidance works best when it points forward. 84. Stress increases cravings for sugar. Cortisol signals the body to seek fast energy, making sweets irresistible. The relief is short-lived, but the crash deepens fatigue. Stress hijacks appetite into survival mode. Cravings are biology, not weakness. 85. Emotionally charged speeches are remembered longer than factual ones. Passion and energy burn into the mind while pure logic fades. That's why movements rely on fiery words rather than statistics. The brain holds on to feelings stronger than facts. Emotion is the true echo of memory. 86. Human behavior is more predictable than we think. Habits and subconscious scripts guide most choices with surprising regularity. Psychologists can forecast actions because patterns repeat. Free will exists, but often shares space with automatic wiring. Predictability hides in everyday routines. 87. Planning your day in the morning reduces stress. Writing down tasks gives the brain a sense of order before chaos begins. This lowers cortisol and increases focus throughout the day. The mind relaxes when it sees a clear roadmap. A plan is a shield against anxiety.